Well, Mark, since it's Tuesday, I guess, what challenges does Arizona present you guys? Obviously, they're undefeated and have won some crazy games.
Yeah, yeah, coming off of a very crazy one, an unbelievable finish. If you were just watching it, not invested in either side, but they've been tremendous offensively in every game. Cal did some very good things, made some incredible plays downfield as they backed up yesterday in the battle with Colorado. But exceptionally talented, really across the board. A bunch of guys playing really hard. That's the thing that jumps out the most, I think, about them is how hard they play defensively in special teams up front on the offensive line. They block really well on the perimeter, and so a really complete team that's playing very well right now.
Mark, was their tempo last year something that caught you by attention? I know Rich Rod has always had an up-tempo team, but was their tempo something that caught you off guard? And what's their tempo like this year as opposed to like last year?
Very similar, very similar to going back, whether it's Michigan or West Virginia. Yeah, that's kind of definitely his history has been that way for a long, long time. And so, the execution with tempo. Certainly, I don't know if caught off guard is the right phrasing, but I hear you as far as, guys not fitting correctly, late, just right, which was very revealing.
Marcus said last week when we were talking to him that back in fall camp, you guys worked on specific sudden in-game changes, like those scenarios with the interception at the beginning of the Arizona game last year. What exactly were you doing in fall camp, and what did you see come out of it? Why were you doing it, and so on?
We just try to simulate as much. We are, trying to, the words I always have said as a quarterback guy or whatever is to simulate reality. We try to simulate the reality of for a quarterback, the only reality that really matters is real 11-on-11 football. It's the best way to practice, but you can't obviously do that in March. And so trying to create those moments, whether it's for that position or the almost false enthusiasm of sprinting out on the field to defend after that play, or those kind of things. It's a mindset, of whether you have whatever back-to-back turnovers, back-to-back, whatever the adversity is for either that phase or that side of the ball, whatever the scenarios that you're practicing, you have to. It happens. I mean, you saw. Shoot, how many different things yesterday happened? Whether it's a Hail Mary, a couple penalties here and there, some unbelievable bounces of the balls, guys not covering bubble screens, one team playing through that situation, one team not. A lot of those things that come up on a bye week Saturday for us that you're just going, this game is amazing. It's amazing what happens, and then how you approach the next play is also very revealing. And so we just try to create as many things that we know are going to come up and try to, invent a few that might. Steve Greatwood, any questions for Steve Greatwood? No comment?
Mark, what does it say about Byron's new role in the slot that not only are you throwing in balls, but on key third downs at Washington State, it was Mark has kind of found him to move the chains and kind of get that game done? He's
done a really nice job. He's ever since, that I know that was met with a little hesitancy from you guys as far as the three-level, tailback race. Byron has really elevated how he's trained, and that's shown up. And so, he is really taking pride in that role, I think, of being a dual threat guy. Those other two guys, I think, down the road have that capability and are just kind of working their way into it. But really excited about not only what he's done, but how he's worked in his development.
Mark, sounds like you had a chance to watch some of the other games in the Pac-12 yesterday. What kind of impressions do you have of the other teams in your conference, kind of how the overall conference is shaping out right now?
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of a few. It was funny. We had three of the coaches. We were walking by whatever floor I'm on here, outside here, and there's a couple TVs, and we were all stopped there. And And I walked by and there were 3 guys standing there and all 3 of them said totally different things. I'm like, this is really easy to stand in here, a nice air conditioned building, all comfortable. You can make all kinds of decisions. But no, it's an extremely deep, extremely talented conference like we thought. And, our next move is to take care of business this week. And we had a really good practice today, really, really good effort, really good energy, and look forward to building on that tomorrow.
How unique is a 3-3-5 stack defense that Arizona runs? Scott was saying it's fairly unconventional or not very seen.
Yeah, the how they deploy is unique in our conference for sure. There's a lot of whether a 3-4 team or maybe a 3-3-5 by personnel, but they deploy a little bit differently. These guys, they like to, if they're in that mode, maintain at least kind of 2 stacks. So you'll see a defensive lineman and a linebacker stacked directly behind one another, and that is a little bit unconventional. I mean, it's not unheard of, and teams have done it. But Coach Castillo's done a great job wherever he's been of the thing is trying to get fast, aggressive guys playing downhill and tackling guys in space. In our conference is obviously a paramount deal.
Any other teams that run that for you?
Not in our conference, no. There's some elements of it. A 3-down team might deploy in more of a 3-4 alignment, but as a true stack part of it, no.
Yeah, Mark, their quarterback looks like he runs pretty well, quick feet, really good arm, clearly. A lot of people have kind of compared him to Marcus, the young Marcus, a little bit. With that component, do they play more like you guys play offensively?
I think we're similar in a lot of ways. He's a young guy with a ton of great pedigree. Won a lot of games in high school. Comes from a great high school program, and has been very, very good in the system so far this year. But yeah, we have to do a nice job with him. Have to do a nice job with the tailback. It's kind of assignment football in a lot of ways. Option football in the run game, where you have to take care of every element and tackle in space.
Mark, the guys have been pretty good about not using the R word over the bye week and revenge.
Oh.
But everyone, you're human and you want to go out and redeem yourself from last year. Have you seen an uptick in tempo and effort, in these last few days as you've gone forward?
I think it would be impossible if you're any kind of competitor to watch that film and feel real good about it. So hopefully from that, if that's, again, anything we can use to prepare better, to train better, great. Whatever your individual motivation may be, that might be different from somebody else, and that's fine. But as we're not thinking about that during period 14 of practice necessarily. But if we come out and have a great period 14, that's going to help us in the game. And so I think our guys have done a nice job, whatever it's been through each game, of recognizing what was deficient, so to speak, what was good, and sustaining that and getting better at the other stuff.
I guess to piggyback off that, you'd said on a conference call last week that there was something just weird about Arizona week last year. You just felt it. What was weird about that week did you feel during practices leading up to that?
Yeah, I think we've relived all that. I mean, it's a different team this year, and we need to, similar to last week, I thought we had a couple of okay practices leading into the Washington State game, and we kind of played okay in those exact same phases, and so that's how it works. You train, you play how you train, and to this point, leading up to Thursday night, we've practiced well, and now we have to sustain that and improve it.
Can you assess how good Marcus is when throwing on the move? And has he always been this good? How has he improved in throwing on the run?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he's pretty good doing everything. That's kind of, a little bit of his natural movement in the system that he played in is, you think back to like a Timmy Chang run and shoot catch and kind of drift the a 3-step or a 5-step kind of glide almost, rather than a conventional drop, and that lends itself to being, a little bit more of a throw on the run feel. But I think he could throw diving out of an airplane in a parachute and hit the target pretty well. We don't want to try that yet, but
Coach,
ready, that's good.
bye week in the first month of the season, with the issues you've had along the offensive line with guys going down, does this bye week turn out to be a lot more important to you than you thought it might have been when the season started?
Yeah, it's that scheduling is always one of those weird things. Wherever it ends up. I saw there were a couple teams that had it after the first week or the second week, and that's always kind of weird. And you kind of plan to work around it that way, because you can't control the schedule. You don't control where that lies necessarily, and so it's perfect. Wherever it falls. If it was week 8, that would be perfect too. Bad answer.
Does it feel like the game has slowed down for Royce? Like, does it feel like he's seeing the field better when he takes the ball compared like now after Washington State finished versus week 1 of the season?
I think he's much more confident. That's just the main thing is the first week he was out there. Derek Malone's trying to make me do something inappropriate here, but the first week he was just hesitant, and again, that's very, very normal, very natural. That position you can't play hesitant. You're going to get exposed. The holes don't stay open as much in the Imperial Valley League than at this level, but he's a great God. He's a great kid to be around. Great worker, and has trained really well and is working really hard, and that's shown up.
Anything else? Oh, well, you don't have to. That's okay. Okay. Well, Jason.
Was their running back kind of a noted guy on the recruiting trail last year, Nick Wilson? I think he's a true freshman, looked real good, runs low to the ground, wears 28.
Right.
It's like last year.
Yeah.
And he just looks like a guy who's going to be maybe right there with Royce as far as a future back in this league.
Yeah.
Was he a known guy?
Yeah. Yeah. And he was a load too. I mean, he's a load. He's a guy that there's like you said, the comparisons to Kadeem Carey are easily, made, and had a big run there, or a couple big runs there at the end of the Cal game, running through some arm tackles, running through some guys that just lean in the wrong way. And that's where, again, if you're the tailback player, you better bring it. You can't be half tailback and half quarterback, or half quarterback and half bubble screen. You have to finish your assignment and finish the job that way.
Did you guys recruit him?
We were on a little bit different time frame last year as far as he went.
Okay, Andrew, first. Go ahead.
Is Tyrell the guy going forward at left tackle still? Do you think you're going to keep moving him around, shifting the offensive line?
We'll move those guys around a little bit based on many factors.
So he will play left tackle this week?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then depending on who else is in there or who else is rotating, that there's guys that can play both that
Mark, I remember talking to some of the guys after the first 7:30 game, game 1 of the season. Some of them said that waiting around that entire day kind of tired them out. This is your third 7:30 game. Are you doing anything different maybe to offset that and help the guys rest earlier and amp up towards the 7:30 kick?
Well, I think part of that is a lot of the newer guys haven't experienced that, and how that works. Obviously, being on the road is a different deal as far as Washington State. We had to travel about an hour and a half or whatever it was between meetings and pregame, and so that's different, and you just have to learn how to handle that. And then this week will be a little bit different because now school's started and they're in that mode, and there's all those inputs that kind of will be fresh for the new guys. And so just learn how to deal with all that and handle that, and still say, like you say, kind of it's a relaxed focus, or we don't want guys amped up to play at 10 a.m. And so by the time it's kick time, they're spent.
Austin Dodge down at South Oregon. He's now the NAIA career leader in touchdown passes and passing yards. Broke your record from back when. Anything to offer on that?
First of all, it's Southern Oregon. You have to correctly. No, Yeah, it's Southern. No, it's an easy mistake. No, they've done a great job, and Coach Howard's done an awesome job down there, and they're rolling undefeated, and I'm not sure what they're in the top 10 somehow. I'm not sure exactly what they're ranked, but love following the Raiders. Absolutely, Southern Oregon Raiders, not the other ones.